Welcome back to, I don't even have a name for what we just witnessed.
Well, this is
OCS
quarterfinals.
That was an interesting one, but maybe we'll have some more stability in game number 2. Game number 1, a little bit of a whoopsie. Things going left and right, and that is going to be the game. What's done is done. Mproc sitting 1-0 right now. Flipping of the map is going to occur, I believe. So that means Mproc's going to be coming into this one on blue side. And the opposite there for Order Academy.
Yeah, and I mean, if you're Mproc, you're feeling great, right? After the start of that last game, being a member down,
yes.
finding your way back into that game and winning. Yes, it was messy, really, from both sides, but one side got it done. I'm feeling like there's a good chance we're going to be seeing our second 2-0. I'm really wondering where Order is at after what just happened.
Yeah.
I'm really concerned. I'm hoping they're going to be able to, you know, bring it back, refresh their minds, refresh their mental, go into this second game and turn things around, but
you hope
how do you come back from that? Like, how do you come back from that?
Yeah, right, because that was so wild coming into it. And yeah, so they elect, given that they are the lower seed, they're game 2, they've elected to go into red side to switch it up, make it as different as possible, I suspect. And yeah, you kind of hit on it, like what can they do to get back to that one? I think like 2 trains of thought, right? Like that was so out there that it's easy to write off.
Yes.
Or it's so out there that it's not. Right, like, and only one, like, there's no in between. It's either like you're just immediately like, okay, that game like sucked, whatever, like get it out of the way and like move on. Let's start the series. Think about it like it's 0-0, guys. Like, let's just start this one again. If we 2-0 from this point, then we're just straight up through. But yeah, that was one way to kick it off.
Yeah, and I like to hope that they are just right enough. It's like, okay, you know what, that game was just, okay, that was the warm-up game. Warm-up game out of the way. You had your fun. You got to make flashy plays or at least attempt to make them. Let's reel it back. Let's play this game the way it's meant to be played moving forward, because drop one more game, season's over.
Yeah, that is straight up it. And I do have to clarify, right? I was speculating somewhat, like, is there a decision to be made? Like, was it like an opportunity in order of like, yes, no, yada, yada? Per OPL competitive rules, like, the decision goes to the team that the bug, the whatever, affects, right? Of course. In this situation, like, my speculation is basically like, did Order get given a choice? Hey, do you want them to play 4v5 or do you want them to play like FF, not play at all? And it's like, that doesn't make any sense. So it was actually Mproc, of course, being like, oh, we'll play it anyway. And they're coming up with a win. So completely turning this one around. And now we get back into like standard things. So what was standard in that game, right? Like a draft was unaffected because until that point, like nothing had happened. It was like a Thresh into a Pike matchup. You have to believe like Harry, confidence-wise, rattled. He is a guy that like absolutely pops off for this Order lineup. I feel like a lot of their success is off the back of their bottom lane being able to play aggressive and make those plays. Blind picks a Thresh. Did get absolutely boomed in that one, and are they going to switch it up now they're on red side? They have a couple of extra choices to make, and certainly for Order fans, you'd hope so.
And I think, you know, seeing where Harry goes and where the team composition from Order goes really answers our question in how they're moving forward with that game. If they're able to completely reset their mindset, write that one off, I'd actually like to see them go right back into sort of that Thresh, that hook
just
pick.
Run it back.
But if we see them go somewhere different, something that may not have been one of their strengths in the past, that actually might kind of tell me maybe that game affected them more than what it should have. So very curious to see where Order goes. Right away, though, they're banning out that Silas, so definitely respecting the priority of the Silas for the first pick.
Yes, not going to be the third Silas first pick game of the day. Corki means that maybe Azir Rise is somewhat in priority in this one. I believe he also got banned in game number 1, and now Silas and the Corki have left. This is also interesting, given that the first series between Legacy and Gravitas, there was like the Tristana blind ban. Like, we don't want to be seeing that whatsoever in the solo lanes. Whereas I don't believe it was touched last round by Mproc and Order, and maybe that's due to like not these guys actually picking up the champion. Maybe it's not like lack of ability to play. They just don't think it's good. Azir priority hasn't been the biggest here. Kai'Sa has, though. That's going to be another first pick here.
Yep, that's another Mboma first pick on the Kai'Sa. So I'm assuming Mboma's very happy with how these picks and bans are going, getting that comfort pick. I'm also interested to see Order taking away that Aatrox from Berserker. Obviously, they've identified that as an issue following game 1. I mean, we saw there are a lot of 2v1s that he was able to turn around.
Yeah, right? Because like when you think about Aatrox and the changes that happened on 9-14, by all extents and purposes, like, he was buffed.
Yes.
Numbers, like self-healing goes up, like damage here, blah, 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 blah. Like, the stats-wise, he just got a bonus. He just can't revive anymore, right? So, like, that is just gone, but you can still do the same plays he was making. Like, that was a flash knock-up onto the backline. Like, Q3 onto multiple members will still just wipe the floor. It's almost like decap like Archangel's TFT Aatrox pre-Demon nerf. He just slaps 3 people and you've won the game. That was genuinely it. So, yeah, banning the Aatrox, taking the one off the table makes a lot of sense here for Order.
What is your actual? I'm curious what your actual take is on the whole Aatrox rework and losing that revive, because I'm assuming you're like me and been playing this game well long enough to remember when Aatrox didn't really even have like the revive as much as he was just Mr. Lifesteal champ.
Yeah, did he never have a revive? I thought he did. Like, it was part of his passive, and he had to, like, build the blood well, and his, like, Q was different,
yes,
like,
and then
rework.
I guess, but I don't know, I just always saw him as, like, he's just going to gain health forever.
Yeah, he's just like an attack speed, like, lifesteal
and that was back when he was never played.
He was a jungler back then.
Yes.
China was all about, like, Aatrox level 2 dive top lane. Just ruin top laner's dreams, but...
Finally seeing Sejuani.
Yeah.
Sejuani finally surviving, you know, those bans and getting taken by Emprox as well as the Pyke once again for Artec. On the opposite side, though, we're seeing the Sivir once again on CY and a LeBlanc.
Yeah, so a couple of interesting things, right? Like, third pick blue side Sejuani means that Order can just ban whatever they want. Like, you're thinking about the Aurelia, you're thinking about the Camille, you're thinking about the melee bruisers. Renekton is one. Kled is already gone, that's a big one, but you have the opportunity to ban that away. They're also not going to in this case. The Cassio has to be kind of shielded from this blind LeBlanc pick. But also the fact that Sylas is gone and now isn't realistically a good jungle answer. Like, lost a bit of his wave clear and I should say jungle clear ability with the passive there. So blind pick Sejuani doesn't just get immediately countered by the Sylas that we were kind of seeing on the previous patch. And I like this choice in all honesty. Order going back to something that has been super successful for them. Harry gets the Nautilus. This game is off the thresh, but JLKC, LeBlanc, and the tiebreakers absolutely popping off. This is a guy you can rely on for Order fans, so I like the switch up here for game number 2.
I mean, he got the pentakill in their tiebreaker that got him to the next level, so that's a high-pressure quarterfinal enabling pentakill. Now with his back against the wall, the LeBlanc will come out again. I'm curious to see the Akali and the Cassiopeia ban. I mean, obviously they don't want to deal with Liv's Cassiopeia again, but would Akali really be something Emprox would take at this stage?
Yeah, Akali, honestly, with the changes, actually fairly good, right? She is in a similar vein of Aatrox, where her numbers did get amped up a little bit because you lost her obscurity, not just like true invis anymore. She can be seen by certain abilities, that sort of thing. In the Shroud isn't just straight up off the map, so I like that ban away. They obviously had a very big plan to like open up JLKC's champion pool. Doesn't want to be playing like a Sylas into a Cassio. That looked like a rough matchup. They want a proactive thing. This is a Xin Zhao LeBlanc, very potent 2 versus 2, and that is an interesting answer here.
Yeah, Ahri, typically something you really only see in solo queue, I feel, at least recently.
Has been seeing a little bit of play, and the one change I do like in this game already is the fact that Charm now stopped dashes. And immediately when I read that change, I'm like, is that actually super relevant? Like, what sort of matchups does that change? LeBlanc would absolutely be one of them, right? Like, if distortion damage doesn't land because she jumps in a straight line and you hit her with a Charm, that's huge as well. And even when you think about jungle interactions, like Jarvan EQ, super big. Xin Zhao is exactly the same. He comes from one direction. Unless he's like flashing to the side and then hitting you with the dive there. It's actually a lot of utility, and I like the lock-in here for Lift.
Hasn't Ahri also traditionally always been sort of that LeBlanc counter as well because of that straight line?
Well, I mean, she also just has tons of mobility, right? So like in LeBlanc being able to pick on like a Xerath and a Zir and a mobile mage, just has to cop it. LeBlanc deals Ahri deals very well. Does have the mobility to answer, but this is draft already locked in. Renekton, Kennen going to be the last 2 for the top laners. I
like this for Aatrox. I like this for Emprox for pretty obvious reasons, because this does enable, you know, the melee character on the top as well as the bot side, which will open up more avenues for Paladin to find some of these ganks. Kennen, we've seen, it's our second one this time. I'm curious if it's going to be that same side lane AD Kennen.
Yep, I expect it absolutely will be. Rise of popularity is almost exclusively gone that build. Also, I mean, there is kind of a thought process when you look at like a Sivir, you look at a Nautilus, Xin Zhao. These are all tools that when you give it Sivir ulti, can just reliably start a fight. Like as soon as you want it, you just pop the R button and you look for something. So flank like TP, AP Kennen, that could make sense, but I expect going up against like a Sejuani, Renekton sort of combo, you want to be playing at range, you just want to be sitting there, you have the Bork, you have the lifesteal to be able to deal with them in a side lane, and that's going to be the route that Vance takes here in this game.
Yeah, I think if it had been, you know, the flank, you know, slicing Maelstrom one-shot attempt, it would be really hard because of things like the Renekton and the Sejuani. Like, I guess building off your point, it'd just be so easy to sort of shut that down and pop it. Where if they're playing more front to back, perhaps Vance could be a bit more safer. can get more consistent damage down that way. And it tells me really that both these team comps actually might be looking for a bit of that front to back as we get later into this game.
Yeah, potentially, right? Like, it could be one of those situations where, like, side laners do just get left in the side lane. Mid lane fulfill a similar sort of role. You think about, like, whichever team gets ahead, you basically have an AP assassin that just gets to sit on pink wards. They're incredibly mobile, and if you do give them an inch, they can just take a mile. Like, if the charm lands, the chain lands, respectively, then it is absolutely a dead carry, whether it's a Kai'Sa, a Pyke, a Nautilus, a Sivir, junglers, whatever. All of these guys are pickable, so interested to see how this game does progress. We've seen a lot of 5-man invades level 1. This is looking like another one as Harry's going to show his face.
Yeah, actually, in their face, the flash hook coming through. Follow-up damage, though, not enough really for the kill, so kind of a flash for nothing there.
Yeah, hyper-aggressive, and the boys do not deal the damage he needed. Flash hook connects. And when you see that level 1, you think about that's a kill, that's a flash away, get the hell out of that one, but when you're just underneath your mid lane outer turret, Lived is like, sick. sick, dude.
I mean,
turns around, walks back.
And that tells me
recalls.
Order is still playing the same game that we just saw
Yes!
before. that is
Right?
a play exactly like we would have seen in game 1 right there. I am super excited, though, moving forward in this one to see JLKC's LeBlanc in a high-pressure situation once again. I have a lot of hopes that if Order is going to take this to a game 3, it is going to be around this player and this champion just because of how strong it's been in the past, looking at this matchup as well. So, as you mentioned, this mid lane is a bit of that skill matchup. I'm hoping, for Order's sake, that JLKC can really show that skill required.
Yeah, 100%. Super clutch player for the lineup, I think is absolutely important. Once you get towards the playoff end of the split, you see on the way ping on the bottom side, that could just be Artek being like, hey, surprise, surprise, I'm going to the bot lane. It also could be kind of a precursor to an early Sejuani gank. Remember, Pyke level 2, E-Flash, super reliable onto a Nautilus that is flashless, and then Sejuani after that would have a very easy time following up.
Yeah, but why wait till level 2 when you can go in at level 1? Harry trying to get some damage on Mboma. Ignite is dropped, but so much damage. There's the flash, but it's still level 1. Doesn't matter. First blood to Mboma.
That's it?
Yeah, that is...
Flashless Nautilus, hook lands level 1. This is disaster already.
Ooh.
Time again for Order's bottom side. No gank necessary. Xin Zhao is now roaming down, but timing here from Artek is going to get the ward just over the tri-bush, so ability to get in and access the bottom lane.
He's looking mid instead, and might commit to this. Paladin is right below, though, so there's a narrow window. Liv go quite low. Flash forced out of this Ahri.
Yes, they get it this time. Level 1 wasn't the case, but level 2 is just enough. There was kind of a choice to be made. Maybe Flash from Uni gets himself in, but only level 2 doesn't have the third ability, not able to take him down without trading kills underneath the turrets. So a little bit of restraint shown there by the Order lineup, at least in the mid lane, and
what I
don't commit to it.
Interesting right now in this bot lane, Mboma, yes, they got that first blood kill, but he was still sitting on like no health with no summons. And CY was actually able to zone Mboma off of the farm there in the 1v2 situation. But as soon as the ports get back, they go straight into it once again. A lot of damage being thrown Artek's way. I just feel like Harry and Artek really don't like each other.
I would absolutely agree with that assessment. I think on your previous point, like maybe it had something to do with, of course, the camera panned up looking at the Xin Zhao gank in the mid lane, but maybe Mprox look at the wave, and if you do get like a 2 versus 2 kill in the bottom side, it's very, very useful for you to be able to like pull the wave and actually hold it towards you, especially 1 versus 2, be able to zone away the AD carry, lose a bit of extra CS after the kill, so that could have been the play there, and the reason why, yes, Mboma sticks around on low HP, has the Doran's Blade, has that tiny little bit of life on hit, so will ultimately be fine underneath his turret, but yeah, it was interesting. This is a gank opportunity topside.
It is.
Oh, that's an E-burn.
Oh, yeah, that is an aggressive play from Vance. Paladin should be beelining right for him. Flash still available on the cannon, but it might not be enough to make the save. Teleport coming through. They secure 1 kill. Berserker might escape, but JLKC does want it. Flash for Flash. The chains connect, and the damage is there. JLKC returning that, but might get stunned for his trouble. Paladin is going to look to run him down. A teleport coming back for Order as JLKC trying to buy time. Paladin staying with it, but Vance is here, and they have the damage to turn around. A clutch stun gives the kill, but another teleport arrives. Berserker wants JLKC and will cut him down. You have lived right below, though, so we might not be done yet. Should the charm connect, it might need more damage. Uni walking straight into lane, and Emprox is on the run, but a clutch stun holds lived in place. The damage gets thrown back, though, and it's Uni who falls. Van's now on his own, does return the first kill down on the bot side as well. There is chaos as bot laners smash into each other. Berserker survives in the top, and Boma and Harry fall in the bot.
And one by one, every person that walked to the top lane died and then respawned, and somebody else takes their place. Now, top lane has come up with a huge bunch of kills. You have to think that certainly benefits Berserker on the Renekton. Getting early kills over the Kennen matchup, sitting 3-1 right now. All you kind of have is that all-in threat. Kennen will whittle you down once he gets towards the lifesteal. He's now got the Cutlass to play at that kind of range advantage, but 3-1 Renekton hasn't even used the majority of that goal right now. Absolutely sitting pretty on the top side for Emprox.
Yeah, I'm curious to see what this first buy will be, and it's just going to be a straight-up phage. So, nice back coming there for Berserker as Liv's in a bit of trouble right now. Hook connects, Paladin's over the wall to try and make the save, but he's already too low. Liv will fall, Uni securing that kill, and now Paladin is on his own, trying to get underneath that tower. No follow-up will be there, but a kill secured for Order.
And both of these games from either team have been super proactive all over the map. Like, laning phase does not exist. 6 minutes into this one, everybody walking everywhere. Paladin,
it doesn't matter! Flashing into the wall, but he still gets the hook. JLKC swoops in for the kill. This is the best series ever.
Harry just hits him with a BM flash into the wall. That's straight up. Like, he doesn't need a flash. Lands the hook.
Yeah,
JLKC picks it up. That is... That's just...
Was that intentional BM because of what Liv did last game? It's like, nah, I can do it better. Charm connecting onto JLKC. So much damage coming from this Ahri who was looking to run JLKC down. Liv going to go under the tower for it. Ooh. Not quite there. And now Uni is making his way from that side down bot. And Boma is trying to turn things around. It's 1-for-1 as it is 80 carry for support. Artek safely gets out of that.
Yeah, kills traded all over the place. Uni thinks he's starting off a sneaky dragon, but he's just standing on top of a ward right now. Very good vision control bot side for Emprox. Liv doesn't have flash and doesn't have ultis, so closing the gap is difficult.
Yeah, but the sweeping lens does spot the ward. Uni doing the smart thing and backing away this time, not looking for yet another fight. 7 minutes into this game, 7-7 is the score. This series has been definitely one for the memory books.
This is fun.
This is fun.
You know what I mean? This is genuine. This is just some wholesome PG 13+ family fun.
PG-13. Okay, yeah, that's right. So, I don't remember. You have to up it. That typically means you're allowed one swear word. I'm not gamesy enough to drop it. I'll leave that for you.
Look, first game was shit, not gonna lie.
There it is! All right, PG-13.
We hit the code.
We hit the code.
Okay. So, very even though. 700 gold, 7 kills apiece, as you mentioned. Harry still looking for more. Doesn't have Hex Flash and a Nautilus. It is a choice they somewhat make, but Infernal Dragon is drawing everyone's eye.
It is JLKC getting that deep vision, able to avoid Artek's hook attempt. But with that, Emprox does have a bit more manpower around that Infernal Drake, and they may look to start it. And Boma on his own momentarily in the bot lane. Harry's actually taking a very aggressive positioning, but here comes the rest of Emprox. CY will be the target. No, it's going to be Harry instead. Stun does connect coming from Artek, and the damage follow-up is actually slowly whittling away. Finally, they get the kill onto Harry.
Yeah, easy cleanup. The Pikey lands, but the ulti doesn't, so your cut's not going anywhere. Infernal Dragon is still on the cards, remember, so a kill on the bottom side can spice things up. This is going to be a play.
Yeah, Berserker already quite low. Van stepping forward, but doesn't want to get into that stun range, respecting the ability from Berserker to turn this around in the 1v1. So Van's definitely being careful, playing that game of footsie, but that gives Berserker time to heal back up. Wave going in Berserker's favor, and he will walk away.
Yeah, you can see the all-in threat. Despite Renekton being on -2 HP, Vans does not want to step up, so has to respect it. I like the little sigil there. I don't like the miss cannon. But yeah, the IG marker above the Q. Yeah. I don't think I've noticed that one before.
We're actually seeing Infernal Drakes getting started up by Order. Paladin leading the charge from Emprox to contest it in the mid lane. Lived jumping on JLKC, getting that solo kill, and that should, you know, stop that Infernal Drake.
Yeah, Ignite popped the TP of the Blanc. Harry in no man's land.
In a bad place to be. I think the depth charge was not available yet because he's only level 5, so it's an easy kill picked up for Emprox, and now they will start the Infernal Drake.
2 picks almost randomly. Solo kill in the mid lane. Lived was almost taking down JLKC earlier underneath the turret. The Q not quite getting the return damage, but round number 2 Ignite is popped and very easily cleans that one up. Harry dies for the 5th time this game already. Infernal Dragon gets taken off the board, and now a significant gold lead starting here for Mprox, turning this one around. 2,000 in their back pockets. Vans had to reset as well, so another plate goes over to Berserker. This Renekton is getting large. This Kai'Sa is getting large, and Order really don't have the answers right now.
Yeah, 5 deaths in 10 minutes is not a good sign from someone who we were looking at to be sort of that leader and that playmaker coming from Order. They're going to have to look elsewhere in this one because JLKC has also been struggling a bit in the mid lane.
Is he?
Oh, and meanwhile,
Not anymore.
yeah, not anymore. Gets that kill off camera, so perhaps speaking too soon, but here comes Artek. Not going to commit on this one, despite Mboma being around. They're waiting for Paladin as well as Berserker to come down from above. Order on the retreat, kind of scattering in all directions right now.
And I will say, for how bad Harry's scoreline looks right now, is actually very active on the map, right? That wasn't a straight-up solo kill, but obviously off-camera, a chain landed. The flank was there from the Nautilus, and I was able to secure another kill. Mprox, despite the flow of the game, lose their mid laner, but still want to go for the Rift Herald. And Order actually just have no idea what's going on right now. Maybe bottom side, or bottom lane rather, is deployed down to the bottom side. So numbers advantage here for Mprox is recognized, and Shelly is not long going to be here on this planet.
I actually have to be a little bit critical of Order in that situation because with no dragon available, that's really the only like global objective in play. And when you win the fight mid, that should be yours. But Harry now has the depth charge, has the shutdown as well. Here comes Artek though. They're going to get that stun. Follow from Paladin is there, but do they have enough damage, especially with Uni coming down? I somehow doubt it, so Mprox will back off.
Yeah, Zinzao showing means the Paladin doesn't want to commit to the play. Had ulti, so by all rights probably had the damage to secure the Nautilus, but not with a third person committing to the fight. Rift Herald is completed. Berserker looking for an engage.
Oh, slicing Nelson coming out, and Vans is turning this one around. Berserker not wanting any part of that. Will back away at least for now, and we're again seeing that game of footsies. Rift Herald dropped in mid lane. There still is turret plating. How much will they get, and who will it go to? It looks like, yeah, so they're going to give it to the jungler and the support. Kind of odd. As they're looking for the dive, they get the teleport immediately out of, I believe that was CY, so...
LeBlanc.
Oh, it was JLKC, yeah.
Gets himself back to lane, so isn't as fruitful as getting a top lane at a TP. Top lane matchup is somewhat weird, right? It's one of those situations where all-in threat is there from Renekton, but Vans has sustain advantage given he has the Cutlass, so as long as he doesn't die to the initial burst, is just fine to be trading ulti for ulti here. What's curious, you kind of mentioned it. Oh, chain.
Lived is
blind,
going
but
the
misses.
wrong way, though. Kind of running towards the other side. He's going to have to execute himself. Like he had to. Will he be able to? JLKC is still on the hunt. The tower gets it done.
Yep. He gets it. That's what he needed.
That's exactly what he needed in that situation.
Found himself in no man's land. Dies to an inner turret. Chain was blind, as I mentioned, but did not land, so he sees the opportunity. Silver Linings bought himself some time on the top side. Means that Renekton gets the turret up there, get himself another plate. Hook lands. Yeah,
Mboma walking right into Harry right there. CY trying to come down. Not fast enough.
Ulti was like half a second off cooldown there for the Nautilus. If that was available, that was probably a dead Kai'Sa or at least a flash. Seaway could have closed the distance with a flash of his own. So a couple of seconds off being a huge mistake there for Mboma, but isn't going to be the case. Also to kind of take note of the builds, these games are incredibly quick and we don't have a lot of time to dissect what's going on, but it is going to be the Storm Razor, right? It's not a Manamune. We have seen every single Kai'Sa today go for that build, but this is going to be a little different here.
I mean, it makes sense to me with how fast-paced these games are going. You want to have that impact as soon as possible. Artek kind of got in a bad situation, able to sidestep out of it, so staying alive for now. Meanwhile, Charm actually connecting onto JLKC. Follow-up damage not quite there yet. It just, everywhere you look, it feels like there's aggressive plays being made. This is craziness. I love it. This is fantastic for a spectator's perspective. Coming back to mid lane, Berserker has come down from top, thinking about sieging this tower. Maybe would have been looking for the dive. Going to back away for now, clear the vision. Yeah,
but it's also like any mistake results in a one hit. Like Charm lands, LeBlanc gets one tapped by the Ari, probably when she completes her first item. Sitting 1-4 right now, but relatively even in terms of item damage. Like, in terms of like supports, Nord ulti is just guaranteed. Like by the time you've misstepped, you are dead, even if the kill comes a couple of seconds later, right? The mistakes are very easily punished by both of these teams. Don't even have to mention, like, Pyke execute. Like, you get CC'd by a Sejuani. Like, your health bar really only exists in the capacity of 70% before he gets to that execute range, and then you're just straight up dead at the click of a button. It is very hard to miss, so... Second Infernal Dragon is going to start this one off. Emprox committed already.
They're committing. Keep your eyes on JLKC. Keep your eye on Vance. He's going to flash attempt the steal. Slashing Maelstrom holding people in place, but the Dragon was secured by Emprox. As the fight continues, JLKC has to run because Emprox is running straight through Order. Uni does find something on the backside, but now is running through the Emprox jungle to try and escape. The Flash Charm does not connect, but it does not matter as Uni will fall.
And unfortunately for Vans, he didn't see the patch notes. Tier 1 Cannon ulti and TFT just does no damage anymore. He zooms into the backline, relying on base damage if anything. And yes, he landed the stun, but he's an AD cannon.
Oh,
no
here
damage
comes
to follow
the
up.
follow-up, though. Harry able to get brought down by Paladin. Staying too long there underneath that tower.
Yeah, and this is just disaster. They commit way too hard. They look at the second Infernal Dragon and they're like, we cannot give this over. Kai'Sa already online. Renekton is huge. Once he gets Shojin with double Infernal Dragons will be incredibly difficult to deal with. And you can see Order getting a little bit flustered already in this game. Game number 1, you could already see it. Game 2 is no different. And straight up hard committing to the play. Yes, Flash Charm went very wide on Uni that did bait out another summoner. It did the smart thing and waited at the left-hand side of the bush. So got the tiniest bit of an advantage, but this gold lead is just getting bigger and bigger. 5,000 double Infernal. Second item spikes are going to be, honestly, very quick to come by here from Emprox, and this is all just at 16 minutes. It's pre-Baron spawn before anything has happened right now.
Yeah, this feels...
8 kills above the clock.
Yeah, this feels like the kind of scoreline you'd see, 30 minutes into a game, not pre-Baron right now. And, like, similar with these item power spikes, I'm curious, do we, when we get around that Baron, how Order is actually going to try and look for the fight? Because as the gold lead is going further and further Emprox's way, the damage fall-off from Order, I think, will be actually quite significant. And I don't think they're going to be able to do much.
Yeah, hold that.
Yeah, holding that right now. And CY is in a lot of trouble. Another pick for the team. Meanwhile, on the bot side of the map, Vance returning the stun. He shouldn't have the damage to chase it up.
Okay, and that was the mark of an experienced Pyke player there. Just holds the Q, knows the timing, and does wait out the spell shield. There's a little bit of a game of chicken with spell shield and the hook back, and Artek absolutely won. So there's going to grant Emprox at least a 4 versus 5 for about 30 seconds.
Slicing Maelstrom trying to stun Berserker, buying time for Harry to show up. Here comes the depth charges, and they have the CC, but do they have the damage? Berserker's going to flash for the kill, and he wants the 2v1 and will get it quite easily.
Steps just too close. The flash from Berserker is able to secure it. And on the other side of the map, Artek.
Yeah, Artek got the kill onto JLKC on the flip side of that one. Like, when these plays are happening, they're happening in 2 places at once, and it feels like Order is losing every single one of them.
Yeah, it's not like a single death here, a single death there. It really does happen at exactly the same time, and the result is absolutely disastrous. Bottom lane turret falls despite the 2 versus 1 play down there. Berserker comes up with everything. That's a couple of waves, 2 kills, and a turret. Means he's going to go back, probably finish his Shojin. The scariest member on the map right now. 700 gold is his shutdown to be taken.
Yeah, he is.
He's 4K gold up.
Yeah, that's not a number that you want to see under 20 minutes in. Really, you don't want to see it at any stage, but
barely has 4K gold.
Yeah, Van's struggling. And then when you add to this gold lead 2 Infernal Drakes for Emprox as well, this is a really doomsday situation for Order, who need to win this game to stay alive. Emprox, meanwhile, they are in prime position to be taking on Mammoth next week.
100% Emprox sitting pretty in this one. I'm surprised at how one-sided the quarterfinals have looked, right? Like Gravitas Legacy. Gravitas coming up absolutely huge. A very quick 2-0, and I was saying I expected this series to be much closer. Emprox and Order Academy, at least on paper, looking to be much closer, but game 1, shenanigans looks to have rattled them somewhat at least. Emprox have done their homework. The boot camp coming up trumps, and now huge gold lead here in game number 2. All that's left is to close this one out. You have to say, Sivir late game, very good. Kennen, at least in a side lane, once he gets towards items, is very good in isolation, but given he's 60 CS down, 4K gold off his lane opponent, that is probably 40 minutes away. Emprox absolutely in a commanding position and looking to set up the Baron in the next 30 seconds.
and I'm very curious how Mprox go about closing this one down. I mean, obviously they've done a lot in the past. It's a good charm connect. Lip going for the all-in, has the damage and has the kill.
Yep, and that's the downside to AD Kennen. No Hex Belt, no Zhonya's, means no Stasis to get you out of the Ari damage.
Oh, JLKC, though, is looking for that pick, perhaps onto Liv. Inadvertently, actually kind of dodged the engage out of Artek by going for that commit. CY, though, already chucked down to half. The tower will fall. Will Mprox look to continue to fight? No, they're going to back away and look to that Mountain Drake instead.
Yeah, actually a super useful dragon to be able to pick this one up. Double Infernal already. Team fights has been checked off. They win them handedly. Mountain Dragon just going to make the Baron even easier as the last remaining inner turret was taken down. So the outer ring and the inner ring off the map means Order can get pushed incredibly deep back into their own territory. If they could get forced back into their base, then Mprox can make quick work of the Baron. They have a Gwinsu's 80 carry. Gargoyles now completed for the Sejuani. So front line online, back line online, everybody for Mprox online and raring to go. Baron's certainly next one on the cards.
Yeah, it should be in theory, it should be Baron Inhibitor's game at this stage for Mprox, and it's up to Order to maybe find that miracle steal. I feel like that's could be their best bet into this one, and they have the tools to do it. Like JLKC can make that long distance play, force out a miss smite. Uni, obviously, if he can get the smite steal, that'd be fantastic as well. CY can provide that mobility to maybe make the hit and run happen, but it's going to be hard.
They're certainly living on a prayer. A steal would mean like 2 minutes of probably respite. Would mean a second item for the Sivir. She gets her IE, starts working towards that one. LeBlanc in the same boat, so certainly is on the cards. You can see Mprox and Artek has been on a solo mission, as Pyke can do in enemy territory, just pushing their vision line incredibly far forward. Nothing past their own ward that Artek is standing on right now for Order Academy, so they see next to nothing around the Baron pit. They do have a blue orb in the pit, but pink ward means that that is granting nothing. Uni sweeps out something.
He does, and knowing where Uni is, Mprox feels courageous enough to step forward, clear some of the vision on their own. Uni trying to set up a bit of a death push, actually, but he sees two members of Mprox, so doesn't want to commit, even with CY behind him. They're going to play it a bit more conservative, play it a bit more safe. It's sort of that Metal Gear Solid mission, trying to find vision as Berserker has to take the blasting cone to safety, and with that, Mprox moving towards the Baron pit finally.
Last time it was the Kennen Nautilus 1 versus 2, Berserker 1, so this time they throw a LeBlanc at him, but that's going to be a LeBlanc Nautilus showing in bot side, and Mprox just straight up commit to the Baron.
Yeah, they're going hard for the Baron. Uni at half health might try and make something happen, but he gets hooked for his trouble. Down goes the jungler, which means Baron will be secured for Mprox.
Yeah, Artek still looking for more hook misses from Harry.
And
Seaway.
Artek gets the stun onto Seaway, who is in no man's land there. Glacial Precision misses, but it does not matter. Still, 1 for 1 as Artek did fall.
Yeah, 800 gold shutdown for the LeBlanc, but his 2 members a deficit you can afford to give. Flash Charm.
Flash Charm missing once again for Liv as Mprox are trying to set up this siege that could possibly end the game. JLKC, he's come up clutch before. Can he make the miracle play happen now? Liv seems to be his target, and he is on that flank. He's behind. Sidesteps the charm as the inhibitor is trying to go down. Has to flash in order to avoid Paladins. So that was Paladin with the flash. My apologies. JLKC actually still healthy, still has that flash, trying to poke them away, but the inhibitor did fall.
Yeah, Harry thinking about it, looking to get a hook onto the Ari. You can see the call was made very early from Order. The inhib is gone. 2 members down means there's no ability to defend that one. That was actually a flash from the Nautilus in the mid lane to try and secure another kill. Did not get anything, but also Van's not able to make short work at the top side. So he bought some time, got some waves, probably working on his PD or his rapid fire, whatever the choice may be. But Baron, broken mid inhib. The game state only going from bad to worse here for Order. Gold lead 12,000 or probably closer to 11 here for Mprox, and haven't even lost a single turret.
No, it's been a very clean game, I want to say. Well, it hasn't been perfect, but it's been a lot cleaner than game 1. And as a whole, as a team, the fact that they haven't lost really anything, all the dragons going their way, no towers falling yet. Berserker should be here in order to save this bot lane tower. This is the performance that you want to see if you're an Mprox fan.
Yeah, 100% ramping up towards the end of the split. Haven't seen them play for 2 weeks, but certainly looking the goods here today, despite missing Artek.
Charm, though, does connect, and JLKC is down. That is a major a major source of damage for Order, no longer available. The 5v4 definitely should look appealing for this blue side.
He was the one-man army that was standing tall for Order, the only member to try and even threaten the backline from Mprox, and blind charm into the bush. It was pink warded. That's going to be an ulti expanded onto nothing on the other side. You can see Order, as soon as an inhib receives some fire, they commit to the other side, but
yeah,
Aatrox break 2 and are now looking for the third.
Yeah, they are now looking for that third, but here comes a bit of a play actually from Harry. He's trying to get to Livin, but the damage just gets turned around too quickly. JLKC is back up, but it's still a 5v4 situation for Emprox. The third inhibitor will fall. Only 2 Nexus Towers are standing. The flash forward by Arctic does get the hook, but the charm isn't there. JLKC, though, gets a bit abused, as on the other side, that is Emprox making their play towards the fountain. 1 Nexus Tower goes, 1 Nexus Tower remaining. JLKC gets to the backline, but can't take down Mboma. Vans dropping the Slicing Maelstrom, but doesn't find anything with it. Berserker's able to escape. Both Nexus Towers are down, yet still Order fights on. JLKC healthy again. A shutdown goes down onto Mboma. They're fighting back, but the Nexus is too low, and Emprox advances to the semifinals.
And the minions do so much work. The team fight going disastrous. They lose their AD carry, but the super creeps with Baron buff just whacking away on the Nexus. And what a culmination to just an insane series.
Yeah, exactly that. Of course it would end with a team fight still going, with most people still alive, as the minions, they don't care about everything around them. They're just going to do some damage to that Nexus and go ahead and push Emprox ahead to take on Mammoth. But and when it comes to best of 3 series, this, despite only being 2 games, might be the most memorable one in my short career.
Look, that was certainly entertaining. That was you used the C word during that game. You said clean. Certainly wasn't the case. I feel like Emprox coming into this one, like facing up against Mammoth, that is a tough opponent. Yes, that was a 2-0 by all rights. I think Order did look a little bit out of sorts. We'll talk about them in a bit, but yeah, Emprox 100% coming out. Hugely victorious match there. Super dominant game 1, super dominant game 2. That's all you need. That gets you to the semis.
Exactly. And I mean, okay, so cleaner is what I said. It was cleaner in regards to the first game when comparing the two. I'm going to defend myself there. But really, from Emprox, I mean, Game 2 is the one that you really have to look at more when assessing this game.
It's a standing game of League of Legends.
Exactly. It wasn't some weird 4v5 turnaround fiesta. It was much more what the team wanted to play and how they want to play. And what I find is very similar to Gravitas. It's let's push the go button. Let's play aggressive. Let's contest everything. Let's win fights and win the game that way. And this might be the meta moving through the playoffs.
Yeah, and speaking, Emprox win, Gravitas win. We'll take a look at the results as they stood on the day here. Legacy Genesis versus Gravitas Academy in Series 1, if you didn't catch it, was a 2-0 victory. And as you mentioned, we kind of likened it to maybe Email coming back into the roster from overseas, and they did look like a different beast, very aggressive in the early game, and completely snowballed those ones out over what looked to be a fairly strong Genesis, but unfortunately out of the tournament here. And in that series, the absolute blinder of a series, Emprox, despite adversity, despite all the difficulties, 2-0 over Order Academy. And to touch on Order, right, I think this was probably going to be a very disappointing end to the split for them. This Order that we saw today wasn't the Order that we saw in the tiebreakers, wasn't the Order that we saw in the end of the season, like Week 11, clutching their way into the tiebreakers there. Did kind of look all out of sorts, and they just got smacked around by Emprox.
Yeah, it's unfortunate that they didn't really put their best foot forward here in the quarterfinals where it mattered most. But when you take a look at how Order's season went, it's still a very impressive job. They had a very rough start. They were able to turn it around, build on that momentum, and ride it all the way to the quarterfinals. So there should be a sense of pride in that regards. Obviously, when you hit that kind of momentum, you want to see how far it can take you. And they really ran into a hard brick wall today. A bit of a roughie of a day, unfortunately, but that's the nature of playoffs.
Competition, yeah, 100%. There is a winner and a loser. And speaking of the winners, we'll take a look at the matchups that we will be seeing for next week. Of course, top side of the bracket facing off against the 2nd seed in the Dire Cubs, who I've been saying it kind of multiple times, like we hadn't seen Emprox play for a week or Legacy. Now there's going to be multiple and potentially a new patch hitting, albeit not the biggest one here, before we see Mammoth Academy and the Dire Cubs. So Gravitas fight their way against the Cub Pack, and Emprox going to find themselves up against a very scary Mammoth. And I don't believe you're going to be here next week. Give me your predictions.
All right.
For these games before they happen.
I think Gravitas.
Gravitas.
I want to see them pull off that upset. I think, you know, of the 4 teams we saw today, they looked the best.
Yep.
And I think, you know, if there is going to be an upset, it's going to be that one. Gravitas over the Dire Cubs. Still hurts me saying that. Dire Pups.
Not the Dire Pups.
Not the Dire Pups, the Dire Cubs. But yeah, so that as well. You know what? Let's throw in a little bit of that because their name. No, Gravitas, I like. I think Guapi and Imelg have looked fantastic, and I want to see them continuing, especially with like the amount of sort of competitive experience Guapi's been getting.
Yep.
I think he's just getting stronger and stronger.
Okay.
The other game.
Mprox and Mammoth.
If this is the Mprox that we see next week, Mammoth 2-0.
Okay, that is a convincing one. I think,
Yes.
yeah, definitely like the first 2 seeds, it was an early start of the season before they played, right? And what was that? That was in week 7. That's like majority through the split. It just looked like these 2 teams were kind of unbeatable, right? There was a single loss for Mammoth at the start to Legacy, but then as soon as they take the head-to-head over Dire Cubs, they have kind of looked in a league of their own. So certainly tough ask here for Gravitas, tough ask here for Mprox, but certainly made their mark on the quarterfinals. But I'm going to thank you, Max, for joining me on the desk today. Had a lot of fun with some interesting games.
Yes.
Thank you guys at home. It has been an absolute banger of a day. We'll see you next week for the semi-finals. We've seen the graphics today. Peace out. See you then.